Farms. Welcome back to this week's episode of WBFTV. We hope everyone had a great weekend and you're ready for the first full week of school in what seems like a long time. We only have 14 more days left until spring break.
We acknowledge that we're on Treaty 6 territory in the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. These are the meeting grounds, gathering place, and traveling route to the Cree, Nakota Sioux, Dene, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, and Métis. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries.
The beaver brings us the gift of wisdom. The beaver uses his sharp teeth for cutting trees and branches to build his dams and lodges, expressing this teaching. If he did not use his teeth, the teeth would continue to grow until they became useless, ultimately making it impossible for him to sustain himself. The same can be said for human beings. One's spirit will grow weak if it is not fulfilling its use. When used properly, however, these gifts contribute to the development of a peaceful and healthy community.
And it's time for our Sacred 7 awards this week. Our first one goes to Hudson in 5J for showing love.
Gabe in 1A for showing love and respect.
Emmett in 1A for showing love.
Noja in 1A for showing love and respect.
And Hunter A in 1A for showing wisdom and respect.
And we have another staffing announcement to make. Seems we've been doing that a lot lately. Mr. Cunningham has accepted a position at central office in the systems programming. He's going to be working on system programs and helping schools develop and maintain the system programs that they have. So on behalf of WBF, Mr. Cunningham, we wish you all the best. We sure are going to miss you here.
Thank you, and I'll miss everybody here too as well.
And as soon as we know Mr. Cunningham's last day, we will let everybody else know.
Coming up this week we don't have a lot happening at the school, but we do have a lot of special days this week. So Monday is Alexander Graham Bell Day.
On Tuesday, it's International Women's Day.
Wednesday is National Proofreading Day, so you could probably incorporate that into your writing.
Thursday is National Pack Your Lunch Day.
Friday is National Worship of Tools Day, so maybe pencils?
Maybe.
Protractors, calculators.
All those things are tools. And on Sunday, it is Daylight Savings Day. And on that day, we have to spring forward. And that means we turn our clocks 1 hour ahead, meaning one less hour of sleep.
Next week on Friday, report cards are published.
Today, because this Tuesday is International Women's Day, we are going to do some Did You Know questions about International Women's Day. So we're going to focus on the famous 5 Canadian women that you may want to learn more about.
Our first of the famous 5 is Emily Murphy. So she was a suffragist reformer and writer and the first female magistrate in the British Empire. Her efforts helped create the Married Women's Protective Act, which was passed here in Alberta in 1911. This led to many organizations and individuals calling for her appointment to the Senate. It wasn't possible, however, because the federal government deemed that women were not qualified persons as required for Senate appointments. And unfortunately, she passed away in Edmonton in 1933 at the age of 65. And I think you'll see a lot of Alberta connections with the famous 5 here, Miss Triska.
The second woman in the famous 5 group is Louise McKinley. And Louise McKinley was a determined, hardworking, and outspoken woman. Louise's activism helped give women the right to vote in Alberta. She also championed the first Dower Act in Alberta, a bill that gave women the right to prevent the sale or mortgage of their homes without their knowledge. In 1917, Louise was elected as an independent to the Alberta legislature. This made her the first woman elected to sit as a member of any legislative assembly in the British Empire. She passed away in Claresholm, Alberta in 1931.
Henriette Muir Edwards was an artist and a legal expert. In 1893, she helped found the National Council of Women in Canada, which was an organization that continues to this day to work to improve the quality of life for women, families, and society. She published Canada's first women's magazine and established the prototype for the Canadian YWCA. She also helped found the Victorian Order of Nurses in 1897 Together with her husband, Henrietta lived on several reservations in Saskatchewan and Alberta, and in recognition for her wise and compassionate advice, she was given the name Otter Woman, which is a huge, huge, huge honor. She passed away in 1931 in Fort Macleod, Alberta.
Nellie McClung was a novelist, a reformer, a journalist, and a suffragist. Nellie McClung was a leader in the fight to enfranchise North American women. Her efforts led to Manitoba becoming the first province to grant women the right to vote in 1916, followed by Alberta and then Saskatchewan. She was elected to the Alberta Assembly as a Liberal member for Edmonton in 1921. Nellie McClung was also the first female director of the Board of Governors of the CBC and was chosen as a delegate of the League of Nations in Geneva in 1938.
Irene Parlby was a firm advocate for rural farm women of Alberta. She organized and became the first president of the United Farm Women's Association in 1916 and was elected to the Alberta legislature in 1921 as a member of the governing United Farmers of Alberta Party. She became the first female cabinet minister in Alberta and the second in the entire British Empire. She passed away in Red Deer in 1965. And those names, boys and girls, should be familiar to you, especially in grade 5 where you cover that. But there are a lot of parks in Edmonton that are named after the famous 5.
And I think there's a school in Edmonton, the Nellie McClung School, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, quiz questions. Last week's quiz question was, how many books did Dr. Seuss publish over his lifetime? The correct answer was 73. He published 60 children's books under the name of Dr. Seuss, and he would also publish 12 books under the name of Theo Lassane, and 1 under the name of Rosetta Stone.
This week has to do with the famous 5, and hopefully you were listening very carefully while we were talking. Which one of the famous 5 was the first female magistrate in the British Empire? Was it A, Louise McKinney, B, Irene Parlby, C, Nellie McClung, or D, Emily Murphy?
And we have a few jokes for you today. So here's the first one. What did the banana say to the dog?
I don't know.
Nothing. Bananas can't talk.
And this one is for Mrs. Plant. How does a cucumber become a pickle?
I don't know.
It goes through a jarring experience.
Yes, it does. And we have a joke from Aiden and 4 to 5M. So take it away, Aiden.
What do you say when a banana goes up your ear?
I don't know. What?
Yellow.
Thanks, Aiden. That was hilarious. And we have the following students who are celebrating birthdays. First one is Athena in 4 and 5M on the 7th.
Marcus in 4-5M on the 7th.
Kessler in 5-6B on the 7th.
Caden in 4Z on the 9th.
Lily in 5-6B on the 10th.
Weston in 1A on the 11th.
Lennox in kindergarten on the 11th.
And Octavia in 1DW on the 13th.
Happy birthday, everybody, and thanks for joining us today. Have a great week and stay tuned for some pictures from last week.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. find out what we're made of. When we are called to help our friends in need, you can count on me like 1, 2,